Kia ora and welcome to the Voice Activation. Today we're sharing with you the origin story of this space, sharing the DNA and the places from which it came and how it was built and grown into what it is today.
So today we're going to go a little bit deeper to the roots of the voice activation and where it began. This is how we acknowledge the seed of this kaupapa. And so first I want to acknowledge Sandra and Cadby for initiating this process during the time that we cannot gather, which is 4 years ago. Oh, 5 years ago.
COVID-19.
Yeah, so that's where it began. We were all in this one little cottage, and Sandra said, I have been doing this medicine for a long time in Mexico. We should do a voice activation here in our community in Raglan. That's where it began. So we started it with the intention of bringing the community together at that time. And Cadby became our, person that ignited it for us. He was the person behind the scenes, and also came on to do the some voice work with the men and women as well. So that's where it started. I want to acknowledge that root, that seed, where it began, and the intention really was to have this group of people come and share our songs and have fun along the way. And even I didn't know where it was going to take us. But there's 20 people that came in this town hall, and yeah, we created songs together. We sang, we did some chanting, and all the things. At that time, we didn't really know the structure. We just knew that it was needed in the community. And then a year later, Aroha arrived in that space. It just so happens that there's elements within us individually. So Sandra as the fire, Cadby as the air, I as the earth, and then
The water.
the water came into this group, which really sealed the deal. And so from there we continued on. Did we do more of those?
We did. There was a few events that we ran together as a group of four. For me, I was still really coming into a place of feeling confident in using my voice. So it was a beautiful challenge to be surrounded by these three awesome human beings that moved with such confidence and conviction and had deep purpose and meaning in what they were doing and creating for the community. I was just really there for a while, had my little inputs and whatnot. But I think a couple of years after that, or maybe a year after that, Sandra moved back home to Mexico. And a little while after that, Cadby moved on to Bali. And so it was just me and Joyda left in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And there was a time period there where voice activation went to sleep. It was like, that core crew that had created that was no longer there. And so it wasn't really happening.
It wasn't really happening. And I held that seed that was growing within my field. And there's a point where I messaged Sandra when she's in Mexico. She's still in Mexico. I messaged her and I said, I just want your blessing to, and also my intention to continue the voice activation. Well, voice activation at that time, and for Aroha and I to continue this. And so it felt right to ask for that permission, because I know that through that it can clear the way for us, the path. And so with the blessing of Sandra, she gave us full permission to share the medicine out there, and also with Cadby, as he was aware he's in a different path. So to tell you the truth, yes, I was singing at that time. Yes, I was sharing my music. At the same time, I still had a lot of struggles with sharing who I am. And so through this journey, it took me in my own healing with my voice.
And in that, during those times where you were singing and sharing your medicine and music in the community, there were a lot of people coming to you seeking guidance, wanting to work with their voice and amplify
Mm.
their sound and asking, how do I do this? Like, do you hold spaces where I can deepen that relationship and that connection to my voice? And I feel it was from that we felt there was a need still within the community to amplify voices. And there still is as well. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of the inner work, developing themselves, coming into deeper relationship with themselves. But in here, in the throat, in the voice, in speaking the truth, in being authentic, and moving with less fear and wanting to share who they are in the community. Like there's so many people seeking that medicine. And so I think it was about 18 months ago, it was December of 2024, that we ran our first voice activation as just the two of us. Um, and it was a funny time, really. We had booked this beautiful hall out in the west of Auckland, up in the trees. And the day
Mm-hmm.
before the event, they messaged us and they were like, "Oh, hey, super sorry, we've double booked you, so you can't use the hall tomorrow." And we were like, "What?"
Mm-hmm.
But we put some feelers out into the community, and this beautiful temple arose to us. This beautiful space hidden, still in the west of Auckland, a space that had only really been used, for community connection, for ceremony. Um, and the woman that owned it, she was like, "Yep, come and share your medicine in this space." And so, and as the divine path leads us, we were what's the
Redirected.
redirected to this wonderful space, this octagon building with a fireplace out in the bushes. And we gathered with a group of beautiful women that came seeking that desire and that relationship to bring their voice forward.
Yeah. I just want to touch on the part where how Aroha really came to this space was it was because I witnessed you. I witnessed you go through your own process with finding your voice.
Mm.
And it was just really during the time that we had our, I think, the last voice activation at a festival in Raglan. She came in and did her karanga. And even that, I feel like to see her from where she started, where she couldn't even talk to me on a voice message on social media platforms. And from there, really, you know, I've seen her come into her uh, resonance in her voice. It wasn't easy.
Mm.
I can say that as I witness you go through it.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
it's been a big journey. Like anything, you commit to something, and then that medicine starts working through you in itself. And so I've been on a big journey of bringing my voice back, coming into a place where I feel it it is needed, and it's wanted to be heard. And so this whole journey through voice activation has activated my voice. And so I feel, I have that ground to stand on, that I've been through, and I'm still going through that journey of allowing myself to be heard, allowing myself to be seen. Uh, there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of reservation in stepping into this. I was like, who am I? Who am I to be facilitating voice activation? I feel so shy and so unconfident in stepping up and stepping forward. But in these spaces, I've been able to work through stuff. And when in the middle of a voice activation, it's that coming back into my center, my stillness, coming back into my heart, and speaking from that place that really has allowed me to support people, and seeing the responses and the reflections that people receive from my wisdom and from my voice has been the confirmation that's been needed. One, that this work is absolutely required within the community, but also that I have a voice that is important and needs to be shared in the world. And it reminds me just how much there are so many other people out there that are seeking that same thing. You know, they know deep inside of themselves that they have a purpose, they have a mission, and they just need that bit of support to amplify their voices. So your voice activation has been a massive journey, and thank you for that acknowledgement of witnessing me grow and evolve in this space, because I know that I have. And it's funny to reflect too and see, like, when I was younger, I know that I wasn't a quiet kid. I was, and even as a teenager, I was loud, I was opinionated. Um, but also definitely moved through some of those motions in life where I realized the way that I used my voice was also harmful. You know, I heard a lot of people with how sharp tongued I could be. And so that sent me into a place of holding it back and reserving it, because I didn't want to be someone that hurt other people. But that also constricted me and kept me small in being able to speak my truth. And so I've learned now how to move with my truth, but with compassion, with clarity, with kindness. And a big part of that for me as well has been like connecting with my ancestors, connecting with the elements. Calling to my ancestors came through spending time in the forest or at the ocean or out in the storms, and like letting the voice carry the messages that it needed to the places that it needed to. And so that's where I feel voice activation has developed to as well, is into our ancestral intelligence and remembering and knowledge and wisdom that the elements hold for us, because they're such a reflection of who we are.
Yeah. Thank you for that. For me, it was when I was called to step up and be the voice of the children. I think that's like really sealed for me, where I no longer um, I no longer can't hide the force of my voice, and so I know that it can reach people to their hearts. And so what I didn't even that I didn't know the capacity of where it's going to go. And so the song came. It was potent, because it was from Mother's Rage, and so I sang that song in front of the parliament, and I saw how people found strength in that song, in the voice. Even though I was running out of gas, I was running out of air from singing. I was still, you know, I was so charged. My voice was shaking, and there I really felt the purpose of my voice. I can't think of a time where it's so profound, but that was like one of the moments where I came into this realization that my voice is beyond just performing or entertaining. And from there, I felt the strength and the power, and also the vulnerability of my voice, and how I can assist, the greater vibration. So yeah, I think this could be another talk. So we'll just keep it on that. Just really acknowledging where it came from and where we are now. And so from there, we started creating more events because it felt so aligned. The first one was in Auckland, out sort of Auckland, eh?
You're still Auckland.
Yeah, and then Tauranga. So shout out to those people who trusted us from the very beginning, who came and just gave that full permission, for to be in that space. And then all of a sudden we were in Australia. There's all these things that happened along the way, from like, we only do 15 people when it comes to our container, because we have to we have to make sure that the space is held and protected, and know that we can. I know 15 people is a good number that we can, both of us, that we can hold.
Mm.
And we want to have that, integrity to stay. And also, we don't allow any footage or videos. That's why there's not a lot. We had a old social media that's been taken down, and we have this new one that just started called the voice activation on Instagram and Facebook, and that's where we kind of share our events that are coming up. And but most of the time, I think most of the time it's through networking, people that knows us,
Mm.
and through newsletters. That's how we that's how we reach people in an organic way.
Mm. And even like our move to being online, we had a lot of
Mm,
reservation against that because we've always worked in person with people, whether that's, the voice activation, our concerts, doing midi midi, like all our work was always in person, and we knew the potency of what that was. At the same time, we had people all over the world that are reaching out asking for this medicine and for this work. So we thought, oh well, we'll just try it, we'll give it a go. And it's definitely a different kind of space to navigate. There are different ways in which we have to work to help facilitate that space, but it's been really beautiful to confirm that, knowing that energy does not know time and space.
mm,
It has no boundaries in that sense. When we're online and there's other people on the other side of the screen, we can feel them,
yeah,
and they can feel us. And so it's expanded our capacity and our possibility to share what we have to offer, and for people to receive that and work through what they need to work through to come into a deeper alignment with themselves. So even that online space has been a fun and new navigation for us.
yeah. And I want to acknowledge those people that came into our group sessions, came into our one-to-one session, two-to-two session, just really having that confirmation that we're in alignment with you all. One of the biggest thing uh, for us is really capturing what we do in those spaces. I think I did a post about how do we tell people what we do, because it's so intricate. At the same time, we know that transformation happens in there so strongly. And a few people came back to us through messages and voice messages saying, I can be your testimony, and here's my testimony. So we're slowly putting all those together. It's because, from inside, we it's almost like trying to write yourself a bio and you don't know what to write. And so when we hear from people on the outside who went through the struggle and through all the layers of the process that we do online and in person, and then they come into this transformational part of it, there's a sense of that, like, you got to do it, and that's from the people themselves. That's like, for me, a really important reflection
Mm.
from the people that we work with. So yeah, I feel like to acknowledge the seed, to acknowledge each other and our own inner work before we even step to spaces, is there's things that happens to really put us in our like anchored state, and also to ensure that we are always in our integrity and humility to keep going with this medicine, and to really say, is this true? Am I still in my truth?
Mm. Yeah, constantly learning and reforming and unwiring and rewiring. Every single time we put a new offering out there, that work hits us first.
Yes.
And it's good. It keeps us humble. It keeps us in a place of developing. It could, because we're always evolving, right? We're always growing. And so as we grow, our capacity to hold, our capacity to share evolves as well. And it's a really beautiful journey for us too. And I am so grateful for everyone that has been a part of this so far, and those still that are yet to come. I feel like it's been less than 2 years since we've been doing this, just the two of us. But it feels like forever as well. However, I also feel like we're only just beginning.
Yeah. And on that beginning, from all the offerings we've done in online and in person, we created a self-paced course that people can go into, where they can access it whenever, on their own timeline, on their own rhythm, you know. And so Aroy and I birthed this 8 weeks voice activation course called Native Frequencies, which is now available on our website, The Voice Activation, and you can access that at any point in time, when, not even when you're ready, you know, it's there, you know, for you to really uh, reclaim your voice. And it's beyond reclaiming your voice. It's that that part of yourself that's seeking itself. You know, it's, yeah, it's 8 weeks of uh, deprogramming.
Mm. And I just want to add on to that as well, is that it's 8 weeks of self-paced course, but you also have 8 weeks of access to live calls
Oh yeah,
with us and with the community, which really is the most transformational part. I think because this work is it's so different when you do it alone than when you do it together, because we understand how community mirrors one another, and it gives you that insight to see the parts of yourself that your shadows, you know, the parts that we are really good at hiding from ourselves. So when we enter into these community spaces, the light is amplified,
the
and the
accountability.
accountability,
Yeah,
and you can no longer hide from the things that you're hiding from. So those live calls are the most transformational part of this entire journey. The work that we've offered in the self-paced is very potent as well, but it's, yeah, it's a collaboration between both your own work and working together. Yeah,
that's cool.
that's cool.
We're gonna be popping in some, you know, could be an hour journey online as well, 2 hours. So just keep checking, I guess, the our website, which is going to be the main portal for our events, as we are moving into more to a long form of content, moving into more of like real intentional uh, connection online. So if you are still here listening, go to our website, thevoiceactivation.com, for offerings, and could be some wisdom drops. You know, it's still building, so and it's always going to be evolving.
Mm.
So keep that in your archive.
And stay connected here on YouTube.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, all the things.
Yeah, and we appreciate any comments and feedbacks. And yeah, it's good to come here and not rush this kind of conversations, because I feel like we need a deeper way of connecting, and not just flicking through, another content. So appreciate your time. We were going to connect in again next week for another drop in, and we could talk about a little bit more of some things that will arrive for us. So again, find us YouTube and thevoiceactivation.com. My name is Joyda.
My name is Aroha.
And